there have been courageous leaders. It's people that are willing to get out of their comfort zone in a serious way, their personal comfort zone, and out of even their, what I'll use the word, constituents' comfort zone, if it's in the best interest of everyone, and help people understand, um, sort of, that it's critical to focus on your interest.
Welcome to Shaping the Basin. I am here today with Paul Simmons. You have retired, but you were with Klamath Water Users Association for how long?
Well, I was the outside attorney for Klamath Water Users for about 25 years. And in the last 6 years, I have been serving as their executive director and counsel on pretty much a full-time basis.
Okay.
Yes.
So 25 years ago, you started this work on water issues.
Yeah, 1995, I started working for Klamath Water Users Association. I had done a little bit of work for Tule Lake Irrigation District before that, but I was part of a law firm doing water since the late 1980s. So I've been doing water-related work for that long.
When you became an attorney, did you know water was what you were going to focus on?
No, I did not.
What brought you to that?
Well, I started out, I come from a rural background, a farm background. And so after I went to law school, I worked at the Department of Agriculture. I thought that was a good thing to do, and because I was just interested in that world and policy aspects of that world as well. Meanwhile, my father considers the lawyers to be a necessary evil, Department of Agriculture to be barely that. But that's what struck me, and I had a very good experience there. But then I moved west after a few years working in the Department of Agriculture, and I just sort of thought, I can stay connected to that stuff with this water. I didn't know anything about water law or anything else when I moved out here, or very much about how things work. But it just appealed to me as something that I might take to, and so I did.
Okay. But how did you end up working on water issues in the basin?
Long ago, I worked in a law firm where there was a partner named Martin McDonough, who was sort of a legend of California water, one of the pillars of California water. His clients included Tule Lake Irrigation District, and I always say I think they paid him $100 a month or something like that, and no matter what they needed, that was just fine with everybody. But Martin, some issues with Endangered Species Act started arising, and Martin, I kind of got involved, just a young lawyer, and so that was the introduction to the basin. I was doing water other places as well, but that was the introduction to the basin. Some ESA, Endangered Species Act cases, and then that just kind of grew, and then in 1995. Klamath Water Users asked if I would be their outside lawyer for water and natural resources stuff.
Okay. And so from 1995 to today,
Yes.
you've seen probably a lot of change in the water. Can you talk to me a little bit about that? Some of the changes you saw?
Yeah, well, it's maybe the most pronounced example there is in the West of how change has occurred generally. And there's just no denying that, societal values or perceptions are driving a whole lot of change, unfortunately, in my judgment. But the world, there's a litigation industry, environmental litigation industry. Mm-hmm. There are tribes in this basin who have important interests as well, and they during this period have really established themselves as formidable advocates. I mean, obviously they've been here for a very long time, but I feel like this has coincided with a period of tribes really asserting themselves, and of course there's several tribes in the basin. So all those things in combination, cause change.
Mm-hmm. I've been in the Klamath Basin for 21 years, so mm-hmm. not, you've been involved a little bit longer than I have, but it's such a contentious issue. So how did you, Paul, deal with working on that?
It's not easy.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's kind of lonely, frankly. But number one, I like the people I work for. I
Mhm.
believe in what they do, I think. And so that makes everything follow, quite honestly. The work is stimulating. It can be frustrating. I like the fact that this work, no matter whether you're a lawyer or an executive director, it involves a combination of law, science, policy, politics, and you're just always, twisting that Rubik's cube to try to get something done, get it in a good place. All those elements. So that part, it's stimulating and interesting. The difficult parts are just difficult parts. I got to tell you, and when the water was shut off in 2021, uh, uh, I felt like I was getting up every morning and I was going to run into a brick wall that day. And I was going to go and do it again the next day as we were trying to do something to get water. Not 2021, 2001. And, when they had the first parade here and the down in the park, the group and passing the bucket, I was down there crying my eyes out because I couldn't do anything. I wasn't able to do anything about it. And it was so sad. So there's it comes with emotion,
Yeah.
and like what can I say? My heart's in it,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm in it.
Right. So tell me, in all, well, let's talk about tell me something you did in the angle that you're really proud of.
In this job, in this
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say I am really proud, even though it failed, of the settlement we did, the Klamath Basin Restoration Agreement. Um, I worked extremely hard on that for 5 years, and not full time for 5 years, but for a period of time. And I felt like we did things right there. I would change some things now, but that was a pretty huge deal. We had two states, 3 tribes, a bunch of environmental groups, 15 irrigation districts, who all signed the same agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that failed for lack of congressional legislation, but it was something that I'm glad I did. And I think I learned a lot in the process before, during, and after the process as well. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of things that we've just gotten done that help people, even though, things are challenging on the waterfront. I have to say, I always say there are so many things that didn't happen and people don't realize. I hate to say it, but could have been so much worse. And so, most recently, there was some legislation passed at the end of the last Congress and was signed in January. And we've gotten some legislation enacted a few times. And in each time that we've gotten legislation enacted, the Klamath Project has been the only reclamation project that has, in that entire Congress, gotten something uniquely for itself. In the most recent one, and this is one of the good things about this kind of work, Congress passed this bill, and it said, "You, the Secretary of Interior, shall comply with the words that are in this agreement." And this agreement was negotiated in 2016. And so we were able to carefully work out the wording in the agreement rather than leave that to Congress. So Congress just had to say, go do that, instead of let us try to tell you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that stage was set 8 years before the bill passed. And you kind of have to have that perspective, I think, or mindset about everything you do.
Yeah.
But you're playing the long game no matter what.
Right.
Yeah.
That's valid. Talking about the Klamath Basin Restoration Agreement, our viewers have probably heard that we had Dan Keppen on.
Yep.
We've had Scott White. So we've talked a little bit about the KBRA. You mentioned that you learned some lessons during that time. Can you share a couple of them?
Yeah. One is relationships are everything. I used to hear relationships really matter, and I go, yeah, I get it. And then, no, they matter. I'm here. I mean, relationships matter. It's that simple, particularly in this world where nothing, frankly, ends, and you don't, as a lawyer, you're not going to win the big case and then move on to the next big case. It's the same. It's the same interactions all the time. But that's true of the world. I also learned that there's incredible power of all kinds in coalitions and partnerships. And I learned that in a new way. And during those days when we were trying to get that legislation passed, we would jointly lobby with, environmental groups, tribes, and everything else. And people would just, figuratively speaking, the world would stop to see what we all had to say together. So those, and I think the other thing about that is leadership is essential and critical, and courageous leadership is rare, but also essential at least in the world that I, have dealt with in my time.
Mm-hmm. When you're talking about partnerships and coalition,
Yep.
what are some of the keys to building that? How do you build a strong partnership or a strong coalition?
It's done through people, for starters, above all, and it's done. Credibility is essential, and you have to learn that trust is not given; it's earned. And so, if you just have to live by those rules, I think, and not be afraid of interacting with someone or someone or something that's different, or that you don't really even think you necessarily like. It can be hard to deal with certain regulators. I will not, not in this basin. No, never. But, in my world, I just get mad, and it's hard to keep up those relationships, but you have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
It
Yeah.
comes back to relationships, right?
It does.
Yeah.
Believe it or
Caring, I think probably caring about the person.
Yeah.
A little.
I think that's
Yeah.
absolutely right. And I've been a lot of places in the basin and gotten to know people, and understand who they are, and they're different than me, and that's okay.
Yeah, like that. Let's talk a little bit about courageous leadership.
Okay.
What is courageous leadership? Can you give me an example, or maybe even tell me a story about somebody that's been a really courageous leader? Or
yeah, there have been there have been courageous leaders. It's people that are willing to get out of their comfort zone in a serious way, their personal comfort zone, and out of even their, what I'll use the word, constituents' comfort zone, if it's in the best interest of everyone, and help people understand, sort of, that it's critical to focus on your interest. And I think this, again, talking about that settlement, it was a unique situation where everyone focused on what's their genuine interest, not who's going to win or not. Just tell me what you need, and I'll tell you what I need. And if those things can overlap, great. If they can't, then fine. As opposed to me telling you what you need, and vice versa. So, but that is the kind of things leaders just have to do, and there were some at that time. And Greg Addington is certainly one of them, and there were others: Steve, Kendra, John Crawford, and those guys took some hits. You have to be willing to take some nasty hits, and you have to be willing to do that, or you're not a leader.
Yeah. I had a really good question. What was it? See, I was trying to really pay attention. I forgot what the next question that I was going to ask is.
Go ahead.
Talking, you mentioned the long game.
Yep. And
playing the long game. In the world right now, it seems like one of the hot topics is burnout, right?
Yes.
And people feel burned out. So how do you keep going? When you worked on water for a really long time, some wins, some setbacks, how do you keep going?
Well, it is, again, I would say fundamentally what I think is, well, it's the people I work for. That's because that's just important to me, and frankly, the communities that I work for, that's the engine that keeps me going. I also would say I find the work stimulating, and I enjoy the relationships. I enjoy when you get things done, but my tank's empty now. so there you go. At some point, your tank just gets empty.
If a picture says 1,000 words, imagine the story. 24 frames a second. can tell about your business. 40 Deuce Films.
What are you looking forward to in retirement?
Reading books. I mean,
Law books?
again, no. I have to say that, I mean, I'm on the glide path. You know what I mean? Mentally, I just am. And so I find myself reading crazy reading now. And it's great. No, I mean, I'm looking forward to, being with my wife, frankly. And I don't know what the right phrase is. Just time that's just us time, and that we aren't burdened by the demands of work and what have you. And we're committed, and we've got some plans to spend time in places that are just interesting to us. Not try not to be just tourists, like go for 6 weeks or something, and just live there. And so I enjoy other places, other cultures, and anyway, can't remember if I'm answering the original question, but that's what's up. And I opened up a little LLC, so I'm going to continue to do some consulting work. This will be my soft opening right here.
I that was going to be one of my questions was, have you found it difficult to think about stepping away from it? But it sounds like you're going to keep your toes in the water.
I have. I have. And there's a big hurdle you have to clear to convince yourself that the world will keep turning if you get off. Mm-hmm. But once I got there, it's been fine. I'm adjusted to it, and I mean, my spouse and also my big sister have encouraged me to, in part because they think it's for my own good, to move on. So it's, I'm ready, but I find it so interesting, and frankly, I want to help here to the extent that I can on a targeted basis, just where my sort of like institutional knowledge will still be of some value, or maybe expertise in something. But the Klamath Water Users is in really good hands, and that makes it easier too. There's new executive director, new director of water resources, excellent. And so, what do they need me for? But I will keep work. I know I'm going to work for a little group of folks up in Washington, one's in the Central Valley of California, and a little bit here, but not like a professional life normally. Maybe 20%ish is what I have in mind.
Something that you can pick and choose, do from where you want, and work as much as you want or don't want.
I tell people, as long as I can do it from Madrid, I might be interested.
All right, I like that. What do you have? I don't necessarily want to use the word prediction, but it's the only one that comes to mind. A prediction for what you think is going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years with water here in the basin.
I think it's really hard to predict. There won't be genuine stability unless there's some type of negotiated agreement. And when will the proper incentives exist to sort of do that? I'm not sure. There are plainly dynamics now that may be useful for irrigators, but I don't think anyone believes that anyone's just going to win and pick up their toys and go home. It's all done. So I think things are going to get better for people in the Klamath Project in the relatively near term. I'm extremely hopeful, and that improved stability may itself help stimulate discussions about just doing what's good for the basin as a whole. So I can't say for sure, but I'm just really hopeful and that there's a thriving agricultural economy here for forever.
Mm-hmm. Do you have, when you're thinking about other people in the community, they're thinking about getting involved, maybe tackling hard things, even if it's not water, do you have some lessons you would impart to some people? Do you have some wisdom?
Golly, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to learn. Even if you're my age, don't be afraid to learn. I mean, I say that as if that's how I behave myself, but I think self-education and learning is fantastic. And and the more you comprehend something, the easier it gets in some ways. Sometimes things are intimidating; they're not that intimidating. So if I've come to a new subject at past times in my life, come to a new subject, I just read as much as I can about it. That's what I do, and it makes it easier. I feel more comfortable. So I don't know. It's no, there's if it isn't, if it's not going to hurt you, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not going to physically hurt you. It's fine.
I like that idea. So back, you talked about you're retiring.
Yeah.
You want to read a lot more. You're going to travel to a few places. Sounds like Madrid is on your list.
There's an island off of Maine, Chicago, strangely, Madrid, and London are known destinations in this. We're not talking about, back to back to back, but in this sequence of seeing what it's like other places. I mean, we've been to most of these places, but we just want to do more in these places.
So, Chicago?
Yeah.
I'm a huge Bears fan. So can you be there during NFL season and I'll come watch a game with you?
Okay.
But why Chicago? I have to ask.
Chicago's a fantastic city that's just underrated. That's all there is to it in my mind. And so I don't know. We've gone there a few times and just had a great time and interested in just, seeing what it's like. I have a sort of shirt tail relative there too, who's a lot of fun. But my sister went to medical school at the University of Chicago. And so I kind of got exposed to the city and got a feel for its vibe a really long time ago from that. And maybe that's a carryover, but we just like it. I don't know. It's strange. Chicago and Philadelphia are both very underrated cities, in my opinion.
I haven't spent a lot of time in either one. The only time I've been to Philadelphia, I flew in and left. So haven't spent a ton of time there.
Yeah. My wife, she's from San Francisco, but she did live there for a period of time and likes to go there. And she's sort of she's a self-taught art historian, I would say. And so there's some fantastic art in Philadelphia that she likes.
Oh, I could see that. So you mentioned all this reading that you want to do, and you also, the advice you gave was to not be afraid to learn something new. So is there something you're looking forward to learning more
Going
about?
forward? That's a great question. I haven't thought about that. No, I don't know. Whatever comes along, I guess. Realistically, this little plan, it's learning about place and people of a different kind. But I haven't thought about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What, so when you leave Klamath,
Yeah.
You're still going to be somewhat connected, but what are you going to miss about Klamath when you aren't here all the time?
The people I work for, period, and work with, period, paragraph, turn the page. Also, I had been here plenty before I started doing this job, but now, I've lived here sort of half time for the last 6 years and got to know a whole lot more about, the rest of Klamath, not just the agricultural part. And I love the physical beauty. How can you not? And, but there is this vibe. This is the chamber. It's like, there are a lot of people around here who just really love this place and the nice people, but at the same time know that it can be a lot better. It's concurrently, those both of those things are possible to be true. And so, I like that feel about this place, and I love the place that I rent. And I'm at least for now, I'm keeping that until the end of the year, and then we'll see.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good. What's a book that you've read recently that you'd recommend?
I read a book called The Egyptologist, strangely, which is, as it sounds, it's about it's kind of quasi-historical, but novel about an explorer. This is not the type of book I normally would read, but I did. Like early 20th century explorer in Egypt. And then I've read a couple of slightly trashy crime type thrillers, including some authors I hadn't ever read before. So it's fun. They're just fun. The type of book you can read in a couple of days. And then I just recently, when what was that event? But Rick Steves was here, the author.
Rick Steber.
Steber. So, and he was there, and he had a little table with all his books out. So I've only, like most people, I've read, Buckaroo Hart, but he's got a ton of books. So I bought a few of those, and they're probably an afternoon read, but fun.
They're fun. You probably, in the height of your career, didn't read a lot for fun. You're probably busy reading.
No, that's right. I didn't. There are people who do the same type of work that do. There's just that certain type of person that's like always reading 3 books, and my wife is one, and one of my law partners is one of those people too. But I just wasn't. Not much. I read a little bit, not nearly as much as I wanted to.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time today and your willingness to talk to me. Thank you. I have fun 3 questions I kind of ask everyone at the end.
Okay.
So if I gave you $250,000 to make a difference in our community today, what would you do with it?
$250,000. I would start and encourage further contribution by others to an endowment for a person in probably, I hate to say it, something that would benefit the agricultural community. I'm not sure what it is now, but something that has lasting benefit and candidly working for their interests. It would be something along those lines. Yeah. You got anything on you? I mean, I would also be willing to spend it recklessly, but
now I'm curious, if you were spending recklessly, what would you spend it on?
Oh, first class travel.
Oh, speaking my language right now. I like that. Do you have a role model?
Yeah.
Who?
That's my dad. I think, and to a very significant degree, my sister. She's, older enough that we're, typical sibling thing, and the way she lived her life opened my eyes to. I wouldn't be sitting here. I would not be sitting here in this chair if it weren't for my sister. Just the path that I followed is largely due to her. And my dad's just, a great guy. Both of my parents, but some of, my dad was just an intellectually curious guy, and when a week before he passed away, he's, calling me, "Did you read that article in the Wall Street Journal?" That kind of thing. So anyway, yeah.
It sounds like he imparted some of that in you. I can tell he's your role model because I think you have that same intellectual curiosity.
I do. And I'm so happy for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. You mentioned you love the outdoor beauty, but if you were planning your perfect day in the Klamath Basin, what would it look like?
It necessarily begins with a swim at the Ella Redkey pool. I love the Ella Redkey pool. That's why I was a few minutes late today. I would probably have an omelet then at Starvin' Marvin's. I might have to go home for a nap after that. Pretty good chance I would. Then probably up to Lake of the Woods and hang out. This is like a warmish afternoon. And either on the way there or on the way back, maybe just take a little short hike at that Shoalwater Bay. That's just, there's just something about that little, that's just very nice and very Klamath.
Yes. That sounds like my perfect day as well. We'll have to go hang out. Paul, thank you for your time and thank you for everything you've done in the community. And I appreciate you.
No, thanks for having me. I hope your ratings don't plummet.
It's going to be great. And thank you to our sponsor, 40 Deuce Films.